It has been 24 hours since I finished watching the final season of Squid Game and made a video saying that season 3 sucked. And guess what? My mind is unchanged. So here is 5 reasons why Squid Game season 3 absolutely sucked. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. And yes, I was not really entertained by Squid Game season 3. In fact, I was let down in a mega way. And I came into season 3 with, let's be honest, pretty low expectations, because I thought season 2 was really poor, especially the finale. I mean, I probably thought season 2 was, I say poor, maybe that's harsh. Season 2 is probably like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10 if you're being kind. But the final episode of season 2, it completely ruined it for me, and it dragged it down. So I would take like at least a point or two off the season 2 overall score just because of how bad that finale was, and we got that like 30-minute shootout that was garbage. You know, one of the worst plans in the history that Ji-hun came up with. So, right, okay, forget about season 2, we're on to season 3. And hopefully, with there being one episode less, it would pick up the pace and we would get a better season than the previous one. But sadly, that was not the case. And before I get into reason number 5, just want to give a couple of honourable mentions. So I think it is pretty obvious the main reason why it sucked, and that would be the overall writing, the overall character development. But I feel like that is too much generalization, so I can't really give that as a reason. But God, the writing absolutely sucked. A lot of the dialogue sucked. The storyline and direction kind of sucked. But yeah, I mean, if you can't get that right, then obviously the show's going to suck. But that's too much of a generalization, so I'm not going to give that one. And another honourable mention I want to give is just the complete copyness of like season 1. And we've seen this, they copied season 1 in both season 2 and season 3. You had the mother kill her son, and then before the next game, she hangs herself. Whereas in season 1, you seen the husband kill his wife, and then before the next game, he killed himself. So we've got the exact same thing. The VIPs in season 1 arrived after the third game, and they did the same thing in season 3. They arrived after the third game and before the beginning of the fourth game. A lot of the games were similar. You know, you look at the finale. The first season, they played Squid Game, and then in season 3, the finale game was Sky Squid, and then before that, you had the bridge. Now, albeit it was glass stepping stones in season 1, and in season 3, it was skipping rope, but it was still the same kind of concept. You had to make it across a bridge, so I did feel like they copied a lot from season 1. But anyway, guys, regardless of that, let's now get into the 5 reasons why Squid Game season 3 sucked. And reason number 5, the VIPs. These guys were not needed. Now, I could argue that I think there's an interesting way to have VIPs come into the story and come into the show. And I actually don't think the VIPs were that bad in season 1. But the VIPs in season 3 were horrendous, man. The acting was abysmal. The dialogue was abysmal. They added nothing to the games. You didn't see any sort of revenge, or you didn't see them get their comeuppance at the end. You just didn't see them have to pay the consequences for their actions. You got nothing like that. And more importantly, they just didn't look like VIPs. I think the female looked okay, but the other guys, you had like two guys were like fucking half bald with hair at the back. It's like, wouldn't you just shave that shit? Then the other guy had like long hair that looks like it wasn't washed in about 10 years. And then the suits as well. The suits didn't fit them. It almost looked like these were a bunch of homeless people who had been just, gifted a 3-piece suit out of the charity shop so they could go and have a job interview in some attempt to help them, get a... These just did not look like rich people. They didn't look like important people. They just looked like bums, dressed in suits. And then them looking through their wee, fancy binoculars, like the one scope binoculars, it's like, it was just shit, and a lot of times you're in the game and you want to see, there's tension in the game, and then it cuts to the VIPs. It just ruined the rhythm. It just did not work, and I don't think these guys were necessary. You know, they don't get forced into the games. They don't have to play the games. They don't get arrested. Nothing like that happens. Supposedly they're betting, but we don't really get to see that. We don't get to see any like consequence. Oh, one of them bet on player 222, but we don't even get to see what happens when 222 wins. We don't get to see any fallout or friction between the VIPs. They were literally just kind of there to waste time, in my opinion. And every time they were on the screen, by God, it was a waste of time. Speaking of waste of time, reason number 4, Jun Ho's story arc, man. This is tragic. Season 1, arguably the MVP of Season 1. He was one of the best characters in Season 1. He had time to investigate. He had time to sneak onto the boat and disguise himself as one of the guards. He infiltrated the island. He tried to help some of the players. He tried to take down the game. He went looking through the records. He found information about his brother. He found out about the whole organ harvesting. He then escaped the island, and we see him getting shot by his brother after they give pursuit. So you look at what he did in Season 1, and he accomplished so much over the 9 episodes. And then you look at the combination of what he did in Season 2 and Season 3, and it was absolutely abysmal. From Season 2, Episode 3 onwards, he is practically at sea in a boat trying to find the island. He does not find it until the finale, and when he does find it, it's too late. He gets there, he sees his brother, he screams at his brother, and his brother walks off and leaves him, and that's it. And that is it. Jun Ho doesn't get to save the day. He doesn't get to bring the games down. He doesn't get to arrest anybody. He doesn't get a final confrontation or an explanation or a reason from his brother. He gets absolutely nothing. And that's what we got as a viewer having to watch this. We got nothing. Very cheap, very lame. Like I said, first season, 9 episodes, they did so much with this guy, but if you compare what they did between Season 2 and Season 3, you had 5 episodes in Season 2 where he was on the boat, and then the first 5 episodes of Season 3, he was on the boat looking for the island. So you had, 10 episodes? Or 9? 9, 10? No, 10. Yeah, 10 episodes. So from 3 to 7 in Season 2, and then from 1 to 5. So he had more episodes in Season 2 and 3, just literally at sea, on a boat, than he had altogether in Season 1, where he pretty much did every fucking single thing possible. From trying to investigate, to tracking down, to infiltrating the island, to taking out some of the guards, to trying to help some of the players, to getting the records, to seeing about the organs, to having a confrontation with the front man, to escaping and to getting shot. So this guy, they dropped the ball with him 100%. Honestly, at this point, they should have probably killed him off. Season 1, I think that shot for his brother should have been fatal. Now, I didn't think that at the time, because I thought it was a good idea to keep him alive so they could have a final confrontation, but that didn't happen, so, is what it is. Reason number 3, the games. I thought the games were really poor. Now, hide and seek had potential, but I don't think the game played out as well as I would have liked. Now, at the time, I'm thinking, right, that's an okay game, but let's hope that the remaining 2 are better. And they actually got worse. The games got worse with each one. We go from hide and seek, where we see a lot of players die, and we get some questionable choices, we get some betrayals, we get some hard sacrifices. I don't think hide and seek was a bad game, but when it's the best game out of the 3, I think you've got a problem. Because we go into... It certainly wasn't as good as the 4th game in Season 1, if you're comparing it to that. And I think if you compare every game, it was worse. If you compare every game in Squid Game Season 3 to its counterpart in Season 1, 100% it was worse. Games 4, 5 and 6 in Season 1 were better than Games 4, 5 and 6 in Season 3. Skipping rope game, it was sad to see the death of Jun Hee. But, other than that, it was just people... The people really didn't have... The game seemed too easy. Let's just be honest. The only thing that really got people killed, well, Jun Hee got killed because her ankle was fucked, and the other people that died in the game, it was more to do with the fact that, they had people working against them and preventing them from getting over and blocking their way or, pushing them off balance. How many people actually failed to get across? I mean, it was because people were getting rushed or getting blocked or something like that. I think everybody crossed the bridge reasonably easy until some sort of foul play came in. So yeah, Just disappointing. And then the final game, I mean, we had all these grown men discussing for like 40 minutes how we're going to separate Ji-hun and the baby. This is disappointing. This was as bad almost as, I know it wasn't a game, but this was almost as bad as a shootout from the finale in season 2. You know, just completely dragged out, unnecessary. And yeah, I thought the final game was such a pain to watch. It was absolutely atrocious. Speaking of the baby, reason number 2, the baby should not have been added to the game. I thought this was cheap. It ruined it for me. It just didn't make any sense. A CGI baby, which it obviously looks CGI, which it's not the biggest point, but the point is it took up so much screen time that the baby pretty much became the main character with like 3 episodes to go, and having a baby CGI as the main character is certainly not what we needed. Too much focus on it. Plus, it's a baby. It can't do anything. It can't protect itself in the game. It can't vote for any of the games. It can't make decisions. Pretty much, it was only there to be a liability to Ji-hun. But Ji-hun already was outnumbered. He already had people wanting to kill him. He was already, outnumbered by the people that voted to continue playing the games and wanted to kill him to earn more money. So I don't think that was necessary. I think it was a bad idea adding the baby to the game. What I would have preferred, and I think this would have been better, I think it would have been better if instead of Ji-hun trying to protect the baby in the last few episodes, I think it would have been better if he was trying to protect Jun-hee. I think it would be better if Ji-hun was trying to protect Jun-hee and that the baby was pretty much taken care of until the end of the games, and Ji-hun made it his mission to protect the mother of the baby and get her to survive. I think that would have been better, especially if he sacrifices himself at the end so that Jun-hee can survive and she can live with her baby. To me, that would have been better than what we got. We're just having this baby here that added nothing to the show. I tell you what it did add, though. It made all the bad guys feel like scumbags. They were all hell-bent on killing this baby so that they could get, a bigger share of the money and that they could survive. I mean, it's an absolute joke. They went into this game knowing that they were going to kill this baby, or at least planning to kill this baby, just so they could get an extra bit of money. It was like, so what, 5.6 billion isn't enough? You need like 7 billion? I mean, how disgraceful and disgusting is that? I mean, killing anybody is wrong. And these people, the 9 of them could have just left and took their share before the last game. But because they thought they were guaranteed to survive, these people were happy to kill a baby just to make a bit more money. All despicable human beings at the end of the day. And then in the last game when they're trying to plead for their life at certain points, it's like, why the fuck would we, why would we have any sort of remorse for these people that, were bloodthirsty just to, kill a baby to get a bit of extra money? Embarrassing. Anyway, I don't think the baby was a good idea. It pretty much just made all the remaining characters, apart from Ji-hun, feel absolutely evil, even its own father to a degree. And, yeah, for me, the baby was a mistake. And finally, reason number 1 why this show sucked, the ending. We got no closure. Absolutely no closure. On all fronts, Ji-hun dies. Spoiler alert, Ji-hun dies. He doesn't get to see the games getting taken down. He doesn't get to see the island explode. He doesn't get to see anybody leave in cuffs or, pay for their actions. He doesn't even know if the baby makes it out alive or if the baby's put up for adoption or anything like that. He doesn't get to see what happens after he goes. For all we know, his sacrifice could be in vain. And at this point, it looks, when he dies, he just thinks that the baby has won and that the games will continue. So what did he achieve, really? He went there to save lives and to stop the games, and that didn't happen. So we were no closer for Ji-hun. We got no closer for Jun-ho, who spent the entire 2 and 3 seasons getting there just for his brother to walk away. And nothing happened to him. He didn't get a final confrontation. He didn't get an explanation or a reason. He got absolutely nothing. So Jun-ho wasted 2 seasons on a boat just to shout at his brother for his brother to ignore him. Embarrassing. The bad guys win. The bad guys walk away, apart from some of the soldiers that got killed. But the front man, he leaves. Like 99% of the guards, they get to escape on their boat to live their lives. The VIPs walk away unscratched. Just a poor ending. And then obviously you see with John He as well. His daughter, he doesn't even get to say goodbye to his daughter. He doesn't get to regroup with his daughter. I thought we were going to get a happy ending with Ji Hun going to see his daughter instead. John, the frontman, Ian Ho, gives his daughter the belongings and the money, but it's not the same. At that point, it already looks like she was kind of resenting her father, so it was just disappointing. And then we see that the Squid Games are going to continue because there's an American woman who was very unattractive, by the way, but I guess that's woke. You're not allowed hot women in series, so yeah, we see her playing Daki, or what, with some like bum looking guy, some homeless looking dude. Just disappointing, man. Really, really disappointing. Everything about this, but yeah, Ji Hun's story unfinished. The whole Squid Game, the island, the players, the the officers, the VIPs, nothing gets done. Just very, very poor, guys. Very, very poor. A really bad ending, in my opinion, and that's 5 reasons why this sucked. Don't get me wrong. I will do more after we've reviewed all the episodes. We will probably break it down a lot more, but I just wanted to have a rant right now and talk about 5 things that bothered me the most. But let's not make a mistake here. There's certainly more than 5 bad things about this season, and we'll talk about them more in another video. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Let us know, and I'll reply to your comments. So yeah, till next time, peace.